Well, welcome along everyone back to Sonoma here in the South Bay area. We're currently, it's a couple hours after the race right now, and it's been a crazy one. And we're here for our post-race broadcasts. And we're joined by some of our drivers from last night, including Fan, as well as Dawson and King Wade, our second place finisher. So welcome along to the show, guys.
Yep. Yeah.
Yep, and they should be able to hear you now, Dawson. Yep. So let's start off with, I know we heard Wade's interview last night about how he was a little disappointed he wasn't able to finish the race, but let's start with Fan. Fan, I know it wasn't the best night for you last night. You had some struggles. How do you think it went overall?
Road courses overall are just not my strongest suit in general. And especially a track like Sonoma. Sonoma's quite difficult in general, and not very well liked, I would say. But on top of all that, it was mediocre. Could have done better, not in pace, but in strategy. Just couldn't do the best that we wanted to.
Yeah, absolutely. I understand that for sure. And then we're also joined by Dawson, was our leader, and then had some engine issues and had to retire early. Man, what happened there?
It should include your audio automatically.
Yeah, on the phone it usually includes it automatically, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's gonna be that's gonna be janky, but okay, let's try that. Sorry guys, we're having some technical difficulties with one of our guys right now, so we're gonna be dialing him on our phone.
Next time, just screen record a Zoom meeting.
Oh, Zoom meeting? Okay. I'm alright with
Okay
that.
guys, so here we're joined by Dawson, was the leader when he had some engine issues, was not able to finish the race. Dawson, how do you think that went overall for you, and what happened there?
Yeah, we just we had a stable connection and everything. We reset the Wi-Fi, made sure that the connection was good. But before that, we were having a really good battle with Wraith. We were pretty far out in front in the field, and Wraith pitted there. We were out in front. We got the clean air, and I think we would have had a better chance of getting ahead of Wraith after we pitted because we had clean air and we were behind him. And, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, I know it's a disappointing finish, but is there any consolidation that you're having some great momentum going into the playoffs?
Yeah, for sure. Just trying to build momentum. Wanted to try and win, get that playoff point, but I feel like finishing second there wouldn't really do anything because we already have such a big, not such a big gap, but we have a gap over the cut line, so we were just trying to go for that extra playoff point. Yeah, things happen.
Absolutely, man. Well, I know disappointing finish, but once again, congratulations on running so well last night. And let's head back to everyone else. So, guys, overall, if the how did you guys think the race went as a overall overall as everyone?
I think overall, the race was fairly clean. Yes, we had a couple incidents that first half, but then after that we were able to get a long green flag run, which is pretty common, especially in a circuit or a road course, but to have the good run that was able to actually shorten the race, because originally on time, like, we were just past halfway, but we were 40 minutes in, but then we were within 10 to go under an hour. So it was for sure something to make sure the race pace went along. So I think overall the race was fine. except obviously for the huge problem that we had at the end.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I think one of the biggest talking points overall was there was a lot of back and forth in the packs. I know at the very beginning there was that early wreck within the first couple turns there, which knocked out some of our bigger names like DawsonXIV. Went very fast to the back of the pack, starting very up front. And I think last night, one of the biggest words that I think me and Joe talked about was perseverance and just being able to continue and get your mindset going forward. How does that play in to being a driver and when you find yourself in the back of the pack, how does that play in?
It plays in actually pretty big, because if you don't have your mindset right in the back, you're either gonna stay back there or you're just gonna cause yourself to get another wreck. So you kind of just gotta, like, when you put yourself back there, you kind of gotta forget what happens and just move on and work on trying to get back up to the front. And you can get back to the front.
Absolutely. And then how was the lap traffic? Because I know our leaders incurred very little lap traffic, but I know there was a lot of pushing and shoving. How did that play into the race for some of you guys?
I wouldn't say lap traffic. I'd say maybe some slower cars on the lead lap in front of some of the faster cars. Me, I don't really like being aggressive this season, like pushing people out of the way and stuff. I like to do it clean. But I don't know. Some people are just arrogant, so sometimes you have to move.
Absolutely. And then, as you know, Wade, yourself, Fan, and Dawson all are looking very keen to go into the playoffs right now. How do you think the respect factor, because as you said, Wade, you like to keep it clean. Do you think respect really plays into it when you go to the playoffs, especially when the other drivers don't have nothing to lose and they're racing with you guys? How does that play in going into the playoffs?
It plays in a lot, because I don't think anybody's out here to wreck anybody on purpose. I don't think. But racing-wise, with people working with you or letting you go, especially the packages we run at Homestead and Indy, predominant draft package. They usually keeping the respect factor will help you. It's kind of hard to say, because it's really weird this year. It's really not a lot of people had issues with people this season. So I think the respect factor is very huge, because you don't want to make anybody mad and maybe it hurt your playoffs. But I don't know. A lot of people haven't gotten mad at each other this season.
Yeah, I kind of second that. With, like, not many people have had actual... Like, of course, you have those on-track incidents, but they get resolved either within the race or just after. No, there's been no grudges hold on this season, like, over multiple races. And maybe that brings down the respect factor a little bit, but at the same time, it's still very high. Some people go by the saying, I race how I get raced. And if people treat everyone else with respect, well, then everyone has respect for each other in general as a whole, because we're racing as a group. So it can play off to where it might affect someone's playoffs. I know for sure last season that played a major role. This season I don't know if it's going to play as much of a role, but it's still something that drivers need to keep in mind.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think one of the biggest things this year, one of the biggest talking points overall this year is some of the top guys like XIV and Kart Racer, they're not even in the playoffs, or they're not making a run for the championship. Wade, especially, I'm asking you mainly this because you were in the championship 4 last year. Does that change your mentality going into the playoffs, how you approach it?
Well, I got eliminated first round last season, but I mean, I'm not really going in to a different mentality for the playoffs. I basically treat every race like it's a playoff race, so really I just go into it as I would any other race. Honestly, I don't like to not take every race as a playoff race, because then it'll make me drive different, and it probably would affect me maybe making the next round or what.
Right. Now, going on to the phone with Dawson. Dawson, can you hear me? Yeah, Dawson, so real fast, bud. I know that you've been very fast in some of the ovals recently. How do you think you're going to do overall in the playoffs? I know you're one of our newer drivers going into the playoffs this year. How do you think fighting against some of the bigger dogs like Wade and some of the bigger guys, how do you think that's going to what's your mentality going into that? Like, do you just zone them out, or do you maybe race them a little different?
Yeah, during the race, I try to just run my race, worry about myself, and try and get the best points position that I can get. Because if I start worrying about what everyone else is doing, then it affects how I race. And usually, I'm not that fast if I start worrying about what everyone else is doing.
Right. But honestly, this is a question for all the playoff drivers. I know all of you guys, in these playoff races, the points are. You guys look at the points all the time. How often do you guys really think of those points, like the point situation you're in, like when you're going into these races?
The whole race.
I personally look at the points a lot before every race. And I think that I need to stop doing that, actually. I think that's a bad habit that I have. Because then I just start worrying about, I gotta finish 3 positions ahead of this guy. I gotta beat this guy. I gotta do this. I gotta do that. And it just really affects the race for me.
Absolutely. How about you guys, Fan and Wade?
I'll go and then. For me, I look at it. The points, obviously, I look after every race, and I look before every race, mainly because I'm the one doing them. But I look at them, but then I also think about during the actual race. I just look at not so much as who I specifically have to, like how many positions I need to get ahead of someone. I just look at who are drivers who I really need to worry about. Do I need to really worry about Wade and Dawson first and second in the points? No. Do I really have to worry about people on the below the cutoff line all the way back in like 12th? No. I only focus around the people around me in points. I don't try to look at, of course, like the whole chase grid. I don't try to look at that. What I do look at is people maybe within plus or minus 2 positions of me, if they're close enough. Meaning if they're somewhere within the 30-point range and under.
Right.
Because that's where a points day can actually be affected or not.
Right. And Wade, how about you?
Oh, sorry. I usually look at it maybe once a week, maybe before the race. I usually look at it when they first come out, and then I just don't look at it again. Because if I keep looking at it, it's just going to distract me from actually doing well in the race. So I just look at it once and then get ready for the race, I guess.
Okay. And then going on to one of the more controversial topics of the week so far, the Azuar cheating scandal with the substance and the tires we found. How do you think that situation, like, do you think he's lost respect within the other competitors, and how will that influence the playoff picture?
Everyone knew after that happened. Like, I knew people like Random Shine, CR7, who are just behind Azuar on the cutoff line, they were excited in a way and disappointed in a way, because obviously knew it gave them a second shot with one competitor currently in the chase not being able to compete for one race, and then they just have to look at Daytona as something, as they either need to go out with a win and try to surpass him, but that's still hard to judge and hard to try to almost paint out the whole picture. But with Azuar, I don't think he's lost much respect. There is some respect across the board overall, mainly because it was just through the discussions and the way the driver himself handled it. after he was being told the news. There was a little bit of disrespect there. Will it affect a whole 3-race chase? I don't think it will. Will it affect little minor incidents? Maybe. So, it's definitely big on the playoff picture, but minor on the actual aspect of the whole championship.
Right. And then, building on what you said, like, it's not going to affect much of the championship picture. Like, it's not going to affect it much. In that regard, do you think Random Shot missed an opportunity by not showing up to last night's race?
For sure. Definitely. Because if you know the person ahead of you, and I believe there wasn't that much of a point gap anyway between
it was about
him.
10 points, yeah.
Yeah, 10-point gap. 10-point gap. All you need to do with the amount of people we had, all you needed to do was show up, because I believe you're guaranteed, even if we get a full lobby, you're guaranteed somewhere in the teens in points, even if you finish dead last.
I believe 16 points, yeah, if you're dead last.
Yeah, if you're dead last. But then now we have the streamer now, so max you can have is 23, so even more points available. And all he really needed to do was show up, and he would have gotten himself in the chase. So definitely missed a huge opportunity there. But with Random Shy and his confidence that he's had this season, I don't think it's going to phase him. Even though we're talking about it right now, he's probably... we won't even know if he's going to even listen to this or whatever it might come to. But if he does, it's probably not going to phase him with the confidence that he's had this season.
Absolutely. And then we know that Azuar is very fast at Daytona especially, and he really likes that track. How do you think he rebounds from this, not being able to race 1 week? How do you think he has to... what's the mindset he has to go into for that race to make sure he makes the playoff?
Don't do good, be great.
Sorry, you guys kind of overlapped there. Whoever wants to go ahead, you guys can decide who wants to go.
Wade, go ahead.
To miss the wrecks, because Daytona is usually a track where you see a lot of wrecks.
Absolutely, yeah.
You really want to be up front, but really, with the random grid, which is going to be awesome, it's really going to throw everything, mix everything up. So it's going to be a lot of fun, I think. But
absolutely, yeah.
Really, if you just get up front and control the race, you should be fine, depending on what kind of race it is, 2-car tandem or pack racing.
Right, going along with what you said, Wade, staying up front and controlling the race, we know that his penalty includes him starting at the rear of the field on next Saturday night. So does he have to maybe approach the race a little bit different, be a little less aggressive with his moves, or what does he have to do to make sure he doesn't get involved in any wrecks?
Just doesn't need to do anything to that would hurt him early on in the race. No daring moves.
Right.
Just take it one by one. He should be fine.
Absolutely, yeah.
Looking at his point situation, he's about 12 points ahead of the cutoff going into Daytona. I don't think he should have to worry. I'm taking an estimate saying the max amount of people have probably be about 16 to 17. The lowest probably being about 12 to 13. So I don't think he should have a problem finishing 12 positions ahead of Random Shot, considering people have mechanical or engine failure during the race.
Right. And then going back to what Wade said, the random grid order, how do you think that'll impact the overall quality of racing? That's an open question for whoever wants to answer that.
I don't see it playing much of an impact, just because of the fact that the race is so long, and really about where you start doesn't really matter.
Absolutely, I understand that. As we know that some of our longer races, they can last for a couple hours, so it's quite easy to make up your way through the field. And at this point, any closing remarks from any of our drivers, and if anyone want to say anything?
I mean, I'll put a little bit of my input on that final question that you did ask.
Yeah, go ahead.
For the random grid order, the random grid order, and in terms of how it might affect the quality of racing and as war, it'll definitely build up on team strategies, I think, because normally when you have the regular qualifying order, you have a good general idea of people posting their lap times or people practicing throughout the week. You definitely get a general idea of who's going to be where, who's going to be up front at the start, and who's going to be together. Because some of the biggest things you often see at Daytona, you see teammates pitting with each other.
Right.
You don't see it as often as the other tracks. You still see it because they're still following strategy, but especially for Daytona, because if you're left on your own, it will hurt you. And for Azawar, it'll affect him in the beginning, but maybe not towards the end of the race, especially if he finds someone to help him.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, at this point, guys, I'd like to thank everyone for taking a little bit of time out of your day. Once again, congratulations on putting on a great show last night. And at this point, to everyone who's watching, thanks so much for watching. And once again, I'll be linking all the socials down for Pole Position Racing League down below in the description. So make sure you guys go check out everything. Go follow the Twitter, the Instagram. And if you can drop a follow on this channel, I'd really appreciate it. And at this time, I'd like to sign off. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Thank you, drivers, for being here. And see you guys next weekend at Daytona.